Number 1. Super Sniffer Syndrome. Imagine being able to smell someone's mood, not the actual M-throw. People with this mutation have an extra sensitive copy of the OR11H7P gene, which sounds like a malfunctioning printer, but is actually a smell receptor. It makes your nose way more sensitive than normal, sometimes to the point of being a curse. Ever walk into a room and immediately know who has anxiety, who hasn't showered, and who just ate garlic 3 hours ago? Yeah, that's not normal. That's your DNA giving you an unsolishi. It's a real condition called hyperosm, and it's like DISG up. So next time you flinch at someone's breath before they even open their mouth. Number 2, the pain-proof gene. Okay, now imagine you stub your toe, and instead of cursing the universe and hopping around like a flamingo on a hot sidewalk, you feel nothing, zero pain, maybe even mild curiosity. Congratulations, you might have a rare mutation in the SCN9A, aka this little genetic twist disables a sodium channel your nerves need to send pain signals. So while everyone else is doubling over in agony from a paper cut, you're just standing there like, red stuff, sounds awesome, right? You're basically Wolverine, except instead of claws, you just don't know when you're injured until you start leaking. But here's the catch, pain exists for a reason. It tells you when to stop doing dumb things like sticking your hand in a toaster or testing if knives are still sharp. Without it, people can accidentally walk around with broken bones or infections and not realize until it's too late. Basically, if pain is life's annoying smoke alarm, this gene is like yanking out the batteries. Cool for a movie, terrible for your survival odds. Number 4, the No-Sleep Mutants. If you've ever fallen down the stairs, stubbed your toe on a coffee table, or pulled a heroic catch the falling wine glass stunt and still walked away without a scratch, you might just be living with mutant bones. There's a mutation in the LRP5 gene that gives you super dense bones, like fall out of a 2-story window and walk it off dense. Scientists found this rare trait in a family where people just didn't break things, ever. One guy got hit by a car and had 0 fractures. Meanwhile, the rest of us sneeze too hard and pull a rib muscle. Normally, your bones are constantly being broken down and rebuilt, but this mutation puts the rebuilding part on overdrive. So your skeleton is like reinforced concrete, but inside your squishy, very breakable body, which is kind of ironic, like putting a titanium frame on a balloon. The downside? Doctors have a hard time performing surgeries because your bones are too dense to drill into. So basically, you're great at surviving accidents, but terrible at fixing the aftermath if you do get hurt. Call it the indestructible but slightly inconvenient gene. Number 4, the No-Sleep Mutants. Okay, imagine waking up at 4 AM refreshed. Not because you went to bed early, but because you only need 4 hours of sleep to function like a caffeinated squirrel. If this sounds familiar, your DNA might be hiding the DEC2 gene mutation, aka the reason you don't collapse by 2 PM like the rest of us. This mutation makes your body cycle through sleep stages faster, meaning you get all the benefits of 8 hours in half the time. These people are called natural short sleepers, and yes, they're real, and yes, we hate them. While the rest of us treat sleep like a sacred ritual or a hostage negotiation, they just shut their eyes for a quick nap and wake up ready to run a startup or organize their spice rack by color and emotional resonance. But scientists still don't know why these mutants don't suffer from the usual effects of sleep deprivation. No brain fog, no emotional instability, no spontaneous sobbing at dog commercials, just pure productive freaks of nature. If you're one of them, congrats. You're the reason the rest of us feel like underachieving sloths by 9 AM. Number 5, the Blue People of Kentucky. No, this isn't a Smurfs reboot or an Avatar cosplay cult. This is a real genetic trait that turned an entire family blue, like royal blue skin. And no, they weren't choking. This strange mutation was found in the Fugate family from rural Kentucky in the 1800s. Thanks to a rare genetic condition called methemoglobinemia, their blood didn't carry oxygen properly. So instead of that nice healthy red glow, their skin looked like they'd been lightly dipped in blueberry juice. What's wild is that they weren't sick. They lived normal, mostly healthy lives, just looked like they belonged in a fantasy novel. The blue hue came from too much methemoglobin, a form of hemoglobin that can't bind oxygen effectively. Normally, your body keeps that stuff under 1%. The Fugates try 10 to 20%. Inbreeding played a role because this gene is recessive and only shows up if both parents pass it on. Living in a super isolated town made that more likely. Basically, their dating pool was a kiddie pool. The blue skin eventually faded out as they mixed with other communities, but for a while, they were the closest thing to real-life mutants America had, just minus the laser eyes. Number 6, Tetrachromacy, the color superpower. Let's talk eyes, specifically yours. You probably see red, green, and blue, like every other decent human, but some people, they see 100 million shades. That's not poetic exaggeration. That's actual tetrachromacy. Tetrachromats, yes, it sounds like a villain name, have 4 types of cone cells in their eyes instead of the usual 3. That 4th cone lets them detect subtle color differences the rest of us don't even register, like seeing 30 versions of beige and somehow caring. This mutation is found mostly in women and is linked to an X chromosome variant, so if you've ever argued about the exact shade of mauve with someone who insists it's dusty orchid, they might not be pretentious, they might be genetically superior. It's not all rainbows though. Most tetrachromats don't even know they're special, their brains have to be wired just right to use the extra cone. Otherwise, it's like having a 4th TV channel that never actually broadcasts anything. But for the lucky few, the world is literally more colorful. Your Instagram filter game? Weak. Their entire life is in Ultra HD. Number 7, the Sleepytime Resistance. You know how some people can drink a double espresso at 10 p.m. and still sleep like a rock? Meanwhile, you have green tea at lunch and spend the night staring at the ceiling, contemplating every bad decision since 2007. Yeah, those caffeine-proof weirdos might be rocking a variant of the CYP1A2 gene, which basically turns caffeine into a mild suggestion instead of a stimulant. This gene controls how quickly your body metabolizes caffeine. Fast metabolizers break it down in a flash, so it doesn't have time to do its usual chaos. Slow metabolizers though? You're stuck with a 6-hour roller coaster ride of racing thoughts and imaginary arguments. What's wild is that this mutation doesn't just affect how awake you feel, it also impacts your heart. For some people, too much caffeine can literally raise their risk of heart attacks. For others, it's just a slightly overpriced beverage that tastes like toasted anxiety. So the next time your friend drinks iced coffee at midnight and sleeps better than you, just know it's not your fault. You're genetically wired for jittery insomnia. Blame science, or better yet, your parents. Number 8, the muscle mutation. Okay, now picture this. You're lifting weights, trying to be healthy, and then there's this one person who looks like they got shredded by accident. Like they sneezed and gained biceps. You might be witnessing the myostatin mutation in action. This gene controls how much muscle your body allows you to build. Most people have a natural cap so they don't turn into sentient steak. But with this mutation, there is no cap. You just keep growing muscle with less effort than it takes to peel a banana. There are rare documented cases, like a baby born in Germany with literally double the muscle mass of other infants. He wasn't training. He wasn't on protein shakes. He was just genetically dialed up to beast mode. Interestingly, this mutation is being studied for things like muscular dystrophy and other degenerative diseases, because if your DNA lets you generate muscle faster, maybe we can hack that to help people who can't. But for now, it just means that some people were born to make gym rats cry inside. Number 9, the Heatproof People. Most of us start melting like popsicles in 90-degree weather, but there are humans out there, actual humans, who seem unbothered, not sweaty, not red-faced, just chilling. You might think they're hiding a portable fan or some ancient airbending technique, but nope, it's genetics. This rare resistance to heat is often linked to variants in genes that regulate sweat glands and thermoregulation, like ENaC and AQP5. Basically, their bodies are better at managing heat without triggering full-blown waterfall mode from every pore. And while we're out here fanning ourselves with pizza boxes and dousing our faces in cold water like we're in a drama movie, these folks are just existing. Their sweat is more efficient, their circulation is better, and their internal thermostat runs on elite mutant settings. Some scientists even think this trait might be tied to ancient adaptations, like if your ancestors were out there surviving brutal desert conditions while ours were complaining about the sun in northern Europe. So yeah, while the rest of us are dripping through our shirts just from walking to the car, these heat-proof mutants are probably wondering why everyone else looks like steamed vegetables. Number 10, the Ice Age blood. Let's get a little spookier. There's a mutation found in some modern humans that actually traces back to Denisovans, an extinct branch of ancient hominins. It gives people better oxygen absorption at high altitudes. If you're wondering what this has to do with you, go ask a Sherpa. Tibetans, for example, often carry a version of the EPAS1 gene that allows them to live at altitudes that would make most of us feel like our lungs were filled with vacuum. This isn't just being in shape. This is DNA from a species that literally adapted to harsh, frozen, low oxygen environments. Scientists believe that around 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens interbred with Denisovans, and this little high altitude hack got passed down. So if you're one of those people who hikes mountains without gasping like a dying accordion, your ancestors might have slept with cave-dwelling mountain mutants, which is weird, but also kinda cool. You've got Ice Age blood. Basically, your cardio game is elite, not because of the gym, but because evolution tossed you a secret upgrade. Number 11, the Malaria Shield. Most of us think of mutations as superpowers or sci-fi horror plot devices, but sometimes they're just the thing that kept your ancestors not dead. Enter the sickle cell trait, a genetic mutation that's weirdly useful. If if you live in a mosquito war zone. If you've inherited just one copy of the gene that causes sickle cell disease, you don't actually get the disease. Instead, you get partial immunity to malaria. Yeah, that medieval fever monster that still kills hundreds of thousands of people a year. Here's the science. The sickle-shaped red blood cells are harder for the malaria parasite to latch onto and infect, so your blood's got built-in security guards. It's like having a club bouncer that only lets in oxygen, not parasitic freeloaders. But, and this is important, having two copies of the gene gives you sickle cell disease, which is not fun. So it's a dangerous gamble your DNA is playing. One copy, you're immune-ish and fine. Two copies, and your blood turns into a daily medical nightmare. So yeah, if you've got ancestors from malaria-prone regions and you've never had a mosquito ruin your month, thank your blood for being just dysfunctional enough to be useful. Number 12, the bone clock mutation. Do you wake up at the same exact time every morning without an alarm clock? Like some sort of productivity-cursed wizard. You might be dealing with a mutation in the PER3 gene, a gene that controls your circadian rhythm like it's running a boot camp. This mutation makes your body clock so rigid that even on weekends, you're wide awake at dawn, staring at the ceiling like, great, another early start to do absolutely nothing. It's part of what scientists call advanced sleep phase syndrome, and it's like your body is 50 years old regardless of your actual age. You go to sleep early, you wake up early, and if you try to fight it, your brain stages a hormonal protest involving melatonin, cortisol, and existential dread. People with this mutation often end up super productive but socially cursed. Try explaining to your friends that you can't go to their 9 p.m. movie because your internal battery shuts off at 8:45 sharp. You're not boring. You're genetically pre-programmed to be a party ghost, so the next time someone calls you grandpa for skipping a late night event, just tell them your DNA doesn't allow after hours nonsense. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.